Midnight Run is in my top 4 of all time, but I wanted to make my version of a buddy action comedy, but I wanted to make one that people hadn't seen before. But if you love those movies, you'll love it. But kind of make the idiosyncratic version of that. And I wanted to make a gangster movie, and I wanted to make a time travel movie, and I came up with a way that I could combine those that had kind of an emotional relatability to it. Uh, and then that resulted in Mike and Nick and Alice.
How long did it take to make? Meaning, like, to shop it around and everything. Like,
I mean, I didn't have to shop it around. Andrew Lazar, our producer, did one of the coolest things ever, which is I was really busy making this show called Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, which took years because it's animation, and animation takes fucking forever. And in the middle of it, he brought it to the studio and shared it with the execs and had a bunch of conversations that I didn't even know had happened. And then
Andrew's the
yeah,
best.
then one day I got a call and he's like, "Hey, they're really excited about this and they want to meet you." And I was like, "What?" And then I had one meeting, and then we were just sort of off to the races. The only delay was like we were about to start casting when the strikes happened, but it was a really lucky thing because I've been in the business for 20 years and I've been trying to make like a big studio action movie, and this is the one I had somehow didn't have to do a ton of work to get it up and going. Making the movie was really, really, really difficult, but getting someone to agree to make it somehow was not, which doesn't really make any sense. But I'm happy about that.
hey, so what does the movie say about marriage?
Well, I wouldn't know because I ain't married. But
But still, but
no,
nonetheless,
I know what you mean. I think it ultimately, I think it just talks about, um, you know, the way that I saw Alice in the sense is I've always felt that when I would grow up, I would have a clear idea of what marriage was like. And you're a teenager, and they're like, when you know, and you'll know, and in these things, and you sort of go on that way for many, many years, thinking, oh, when the time comes, it's just gonna magically happen. And I think Nick and Alice is an analysis of that's actually not necessarily true. It's a choice, it's a personal choice, and it's adjustment and wiggle room with two complete different human beings. And so therefore this movie does a beautiful analysis of interaction of option A, option B, and somehow we go to option A, B, and C, but repeated in one. And so I think that becomes, I genuinely think you get to experience a lot of the movie and the emotion through Alice's eyes, because that emotional fold that comes from options and making a decision, it takes a bit of a leeway within these characters. And so I found that fascinating as an actor. I found that interesting to dive into because, as I said, I know nothing about it. And so I was discovering all these things at once and taking a page from people that have been married and have children, which is my co stars, and understanding what that means and just having fun with Alice while doing so.
in your busy year, where did this come? It feels like it was the way everything is being
Yeah.
released this year. Is this the way you shot it? Was this first, then boosters, then
Yeah. So it's interesting that you asked that question because I was with BenDavid when I told him I got boosters. We were on set of Nick, and Alice, and I said, "Hey, I think I'm going to go right from this to do I Love Boosters," and he's like, "I love Boots Riley," and I don't know many people that know as many movies and film anything involved as BenDavid, and so we geeked out a bit over that. And to your question, it was beautiful because BenDavid gave me the opportunity to do comedy, which no one had really given me that opportunity or seen me in that light. And so did Boots. And I had come from seeing I've done a very different type of comedy in this to I Love Boosters. And I weirdly sort of took a bit of Vince's personality into I Love Boosters because I just genuinely struggled to deadpan. I'm Latin. I'm overly expressive. I move my hands. I move my face a lot, and he's the king of subtlety. And so I was really taken by that when we were filming Nick, and Alice. And so my terrible attempt to play deadpan, taking a page from learning what I've seen from Vince, and I try to adapt it into Boosters. And I don't know if I succeeded at that, but I just tried and I learned. And I just always like to bring these stories up because we watch performances and we think everyone's got it resolved and answered. And I think we are always informed by the next job, and one job can inform the other one and people you're working with.
I just loved how intrigued I was the entire time I was reading the script. I think it was, obviously it was very funny, but I think that what caught me by surprise was just how invested I was in the story and just wanting to know what happened next. And it was also fun to kind of have a parallel movie with Keith David where they're doing their thing and then it keeps jumping over to us. But yeah, it was a fun character to play with and to get all tatted up and ridiculous.
And have the same name.
Yes, and have the same name. It was very
Well, American Vandal, I think, is the best show that's ever been on Netflix, especially season 1. And I really wanted to work with Jimmy, and I really, really wanted him to be this part. And I somehow not connected the name thing until it was too late. But I wasn't going to change it. But he was like, I just think he's the funniest dude ever. And it was so exciting to me to just sort of unleash him on this insane role.
yeah.
You know,
It was an insane ride.
And you did unleash.
I unleashed
sure.
a little bit. Yeah.
he does spend the third act doing an action scene in a bathrobe, which is an homage to Alfred Molina and Boogie Nights. But also, you had to run around with a gold shotgun and boxers in a bathrobe with all your fake tattoos. I think that's cinema.
It
Yeah.
is.
Me.
I think it's beautiful.
I agree. What is next, BenDavid, and when are we getting the message of us being in the movie?
I'm really extremely busy writing right now. Some stuff that is very cool for some cool places that I cannot talk about. But I'm working on some cool stuff, and I just want to keep making really entertaining movies that are very specific. I think that it's really important to make fun movies that also feel like they have a very unique personality. Like trying to make something fun, but it feels like it's made by committee. I hate. But I do want to make crowd pleasing stuff. So I think finding that balance is like the sweet spot for me.
I think you're really good at it. I think he's incredibly talented. So I'm very excited to see that. I love Boosters this year and In the Gray with Henry and Jake Gyllenhaal and Henry Cavill. And that comes out in like a few months. And then second season of Three Body Problem, and I'm very excited about that. And at the moment, I'm going to start filming something very exciting. So it's been an amazing year. I'm very lucky and very grateful.
Are you going to do Scream 8, 9, and 10? Is that what's next?
I will not be doing Scream 8, 9, and 10.
No, but I know a way to fix
I
that.
But can
did
you be
just-
in Scary Movie 6, 9,
I
and
might
10?
have to do Scary Movie. I did just do Scream, and then I have a show coming out on Netflix with Will Ferrell called The Hawk this summer. So that should be a fun one. We play professional golfers.